I am Nakisha Camacho. And I own one of the hottest hair salons in Southwest Florida, which is called Hairartistrysalon.biz. I'm a curly hair specialist and all that good stuff.
Take us to your childhood. Like, how did you start? Where did the whole creative side of you come about? And what is business? Like, take us on that journey.
So when I was younger, I'm the only girl Camacho out of all the boys. Literally the only one. So I was a tomboy. So I played softball, basketball, that stuff. And I started braiding hair super young. I have curly hair, so I had to maintain it. And I started braiding the girls' hair on the team, and I was good at it. And next thing you know, fast forward, my Uncle Macho's own hairstylist was Carlos Dimas, and he became like an uncle to us. And he owned a hair salon, well-known hair salon in Fort Myers and in Cape Coral. He did hair shows in New York City. And he used to have me go to his salon, and I would wash hair and chill with my godmother while she was getting her hair done. And I was just at awe. Every woman loved this man. And he was good at hair. I guess he was very handsome too. So they loved this Indian looking dude. And he taught me everything I knew. He used to tell me, like, you can really be who you want to be and work. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to touch people. I really don't like that. And I wasn't as friendly and as open as I am now. And I had to change my facial reactions and everything, and being around more people like that showed me that, and showed me how to open up and communicate. And the way you talk to people, you got to know their story. So little by little, it interests me. Fast forward to that, my grand aunt ended up later on, about 4 years after he opened his, she opened up her barber/salon in Morovis in Puerto Rico. So when I wasn't here working with him, doing summer little jobs to make some tip money, I was in Puerto Rico washing hair, cleaning up towels, cleaning up the hair in the barbershop, just chilling with the boys. And I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. Like, I like her vibe. She had the barbers and the women. So you can hang out with the women, eat, chill with them, get your nails done. But then you really get to see the rawer side when it comes to the barbershop. The talk, the conversations are a little bit different. And she kind of pushed me to be a little bit more creative. She was like, Keisha, you can do nails, you can do hair, you can do this. She expanded the salon industry for me, other than just doing women's hair that I saw in Carlos Dimas' shop all the time. And I ended up getting into a lot of stuff. When I was turned 18, I did everything a kid wasn't supposed to do. And working at the salon kind of gave me a little bit of time to get out the streets and do what I was supposed to do as a child and make my mom proud. So I did that as a side job, but I just went complete left. And I left to California and started doing my own thing. And I got pregnant with my son. And I came back to Fort Myers after I had him. I was pregnant. Came back to Fort Myers while I was pregnant after I had him. I was like, I need to do something. I don't know what I'm good at. And I was like, you know what? Why not hair? I used to braid hair all the time. I worked in the salon. It's easy. I can have tattoos. I can be myself. I'm loud and flamboyant. You don't know how to take me, love me, all that good stuff. But in a salon base, you can just be who you want to be. And I ended up going to hair school, and it changed my life. I was on probation when I was on hair school. And I had a teacher named Mac, and he kind of saw something different in me. And he put me under his wing, taught me everything he knew. I would stay Monday nights for late hours, and he would teach me extra haircuts, extra perms, extra styles, kind of the business atmosphere. And he had 2 kids himself, but none of them ever wanted to take his shop in Boston, and they didn't want to grow in that atmosphere. And after I got off probation, he just told me, he kind of pushed me, he slapped me up a little bit. I was still trying to get my life together, being a mom and going to school and working full time. And I was a single mom at the time. So hair wasn't really a priority. I needed the money at that moment. And little did people know, he actually started giving me some cash here and there. He's like, Keisha, I need you to be in school. Like, this is where you need to be at. And he guided me and gave me something to look forward to every single day. And it was just, God, I love that man. He changed my life. He's still in my life. And after I got out of hair school, his teaching and everything he taught me, I was a little above everybody else. And I ended up winning a student competition for hair. And I got my first job at Red Salon. It was a super elite salon here in Fort Myers. And about 30, 40 stylists, and they had a Fort Myers location and a Cape Coral location. And they came in as being a female barber. I didn't want to touch women for nothing. Nothing. I didn't want to deal with them. They were picky. I know I'm picky. I don't want to deal with the attitudes. I want to do all that extra stuff. So I went as a female barber, and they were like, no, Keisha, you can't do that. Like, you're in cosmetology school. You need to get all this stuff done. And they told me I needed to expand myself a little bit more. So they sent me to New York. And I went to New York, and that's when I found Diva Curl, curly cuts. And I ended up going out there and doing a class. And I paid over $1,300 for this class to educate myself, because unfortunately in school, they barely teach you the minimum. They think curly hair is just black girl hair, or there's no white girls that can have it, or Hispanics that can have it. So I went there, paid $1,300, and ended up doing a color class while I was out there. And found out I was super freaking dope at blending. Like, I was dope when it came to color, the color wheel. And I came back and just doing beast mode. I knew I had a passion for it. It was something that I made quick money. So from my past, it evened out, and it showed me that you don't have to do what you're doing here. Yeah. You can do it legally and really build something. And I wanted my son to see that even if I'm a single mom and I struggled, I have a background. I've been through hell and back. You can still be your own boss, still make it. And our industry really has so many platforms you can grow off of, instead of just being a stylist behind a chair. So I was in the salon for about 2 years. And by my third year, I worked at a salon in Cape. I left, and I wanted to expand where I lived at. It was about a 45-minute drive. I was driving, and I remember the two girls who were owners, who were sisters, right? And I went up to them and I said, look, I've been in the industry for 2 years. In 1 year, I want to own a hair salon. So I'm willing to franchise your salon in Fort Myers or Lehigh, and I will pay half, $10,000 up front. You pay the other $10,000. We'll build, and we're going to build an empire. They completely laughed at me. They were like, you've only been in the industry for 2 years. You need to calm down. Why don't you build a book first? I came from Fort Myers with a good 40 people. That's it. Hoping they were going to come with me, because it's a big drive. And I looked at it, I was like, oh no, I'm going to make it regardless. Like, I know I'm going to grow, but I'm just letting you know this is where I want to be at long term. So we're not wasting both of each other's time. And they just laughed it off, never said nothing. I stayed there for 6 months. And within 6 months, I just expanded and opened up my own studio. And then I was gone. I was unstoppable. Yes, thank you. It was more of a
your
push.
drive and confidence. You believed in yourself.
With this whole story is great, because I had a couple questions that you was already answering. So this is this is a great interview where I'm just listening and all the stuff is being answered, and now I have new questions that I want to know. It seems to me, but what was the motivation to change your ways of how you were, and what did you learn about yourself in that process? Because it seems like you're like day and night, and if someone tests you, the old side will come out, and you probably will smack a bitch, but that will always be there. You know what I'm saying? I come from the project, so I know, but at the same time, I can also talk with people and know, okay, I know how to handle this side. Brooklyn can't come out. But so with you, what was the motivation to change your ways? And while changing your ways, you had, I would probably know that there was a learning experience about yourself. Like, you know what? I really didn't like this other side of me, or I was in this other side and it didn't really fit me. I like this new person I'm becoming now on this road.
Oh, this is the first time I've ever talked about this.
This is never. And this is I've done perfect, a lot.
Exclusive.
This is the perfect time.
So I'm gonna look at this 10 years from now and be like, boom, that's going in my book. I've never talked about this, but my motivation was that I was with my son's father for 4 years, and I got on cocaine really bad. I stuck on drugs, and I had gordo, and he ended up becoming very abusive, and it was bad. We were both sprung out. Yeah. And we were both we were young parents trying to raise a kid. And he became so abusive that he almost took my life one day. Mm-hmm. And my own parents didn't even know about it. I hid it very good. He ended up leaving and got 10 years in prison. And I prayed the night before he got locked up, and prayed and prayed. And I was like, God, if he's not meant for me, please take him away from me. Like, I need to change. I saw my son, and he was just looking at me. I'm like, I got another purpose. Like, I can't be selfish no more.
Yeah.
He didn't ask me put in this world. So I prayed, and the next day I found out his dad was on heroin, and they picked him up, and she got 10 years in prison. Mm-hmm. I guess you could say selfish thing, best thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah. He ended up doing 5 in and 5 out. But within those 5 years, I was able to grow my whole empire. Me being a single mother and him going to prison, I didn't want to replay the same cycle. Unfortunately, my mother was a single mother, and my dad's doing 15 years in prison. He's still incarcerated. Yeah. And I saw it all over. It was like a flashback. Like, I'm going to be this. And she used to beg me all the time. She's like, Keisha, don't be me. Don't be me. Mm-hmm. And him going to prison, I was like, okay, Gordo is either going to be stuck with no parents and be raised by my mom, or it's going to be me that he's going to have to look up to. And the week after he got incarcerated, I found out his sentencing. Actually, that's when I signed up for hair school. And I never looked back. And that was my determination that, like, he had nobody else to look up to. My dad's in prison. His father was in prison. I was going in that way. I was on probation going through the whole hair school for that. I was on probation for 2 years and then extra little time for fun. But it was a lot. And within that time, Dad changed my life, man. And I knew what it was to have nothing. I knew what it was to hit rock bottom. Couldn't even look at family in their face, being so embarrassed because my mom did not raise me that way. Even with my dad on his side, my mom was a great mother. But we all take our own turns. And man, I've never looked back. And I will never be that same Keisha no more. Ever. It feels good.
One, congrats. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. I know there's people that can relate to those things. And this next question is dedicated to that. What helped you stay on that path, and not go back and be clean? Like, I know there was challenges, right? Now you're on this new path. You're going to get tempted. There's things that come your way, and you still have the motivation of, like, your son, and you want to be something. But everybody, and no matter what addiction you have, whether it's food or whatever, there is a temptation. There's a temptation there. What helped you during those moments when you was tested?
I didn't want. Let me see how to put it. I didn't want I knew how hard it was seeing my dad behind bars and seeing him choose something over me. Yeah. And I would never want my son to feel like I chose something over him. Mm-hmm. So that made me never look at it ever again. I'm 8 years sober at this point. And it feels freaking amazing. Awesome. Hell yeah.
No, that's truly an inspiration, because I wanted to dive into that, because here you are now, when you say you're going to write a book, right? Now here you are, you turn the pages to this book, and now you have this empire, and you have this family, and you went through this transition, you're speaking from experience, not just as like, oh, I just did it, and people telling you no and laughing in front of your face. So that being said, now that you laughed in your face, right? And then in 6 months, you had your own place, your own shop, and building this empire and continue to grow. How tough was that to now all of a sudden
start your own business? Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so difficult. What was some of the hurdles?
And how you overcame those hurdles?
Was there more people laughing at you, right? Because now you're doing it, and then, like, now they're probably saying, well, it won't last a year because she doesn't know, right? So take us down that journey of what things you was facing, what helped you, what was some of the resources, and to be where you at right now.
So what helped me a lot was I had my godmother and my mom. My godmother is a little white lady from Kentucky that raised us since we were babies. And she always told me that if I ever would change my life and I had a purpose, like where I was going with hair school and everything, that if I ever wanted to open up a shop, that she would invest in me as long as I came back with a blueprint. Okay. And I had resources. I had to show her what I was making in revenue. How can I make it back? How much can I see myself building in a couple months? And honestly, I didn't know none of that. I was like, I'm just doing hair. Like, I'm just trying to make it. That's it. And I started watching Shark Tank. You ever watch Shark Tank?
Yes,
oh my God. Mm-hmm. That's my show. So I started watching Shark Tank, and I started learning about revenue. I started learning about how your numbers, what your increase, outtake, all this stuff, and marketing, and how you talk to people, how do you bring yourself, like, what do you invest in and what you should invest in all that. I learned a little here and there and did my own search, doing my research. And I decided I was left from the salon to a studio. And from my studio, I was there for almost a year and I just started blowing up. And I started seeing the numbers. I was struggling making $150 a week. And now I'm tripling that in my own studio because people really stood behind me. My clientele, man, they promoted me more when they saw me go by myself. The people that were laughing at me now wanted to make appointments with me. And then the people that were...
You fucked up their hair on purpose. I'm kidding.
I wish I was that petty. But I'm not that petty. No, I was like, no, that's my name. That's my name. So I did what I had to do. But I ended up, I started seeing myself grow and I was blowing up and my personality, people liked it. And I was like, well, that's kind of dope. Like, whatever. Like, I'm just me and I just never changed. I never cared what people really thought about me. I was the little ugly duckling of the family, you can say it. I kind of just swerved left. So I kept on that same momentum, but little by little, I started learning from other friends and family that were very honest with me. I just want to say, one thing I can say, I have a great support system. They always told me, Keisha, you got one of those dog faces. Like, you are not approachable. And I can be thinking about eating tacos, but I'm sitting here just like, well, I'm hungry, but my stomach growling. So in business, I started seeing the more I smiled, the more open, transparent with people, they were more gravitating towards me. And I had 2 people at a time, and my little studio was a 10 by 10. It was super small, and I could barely have anybody in waiting room. So I built a blueprint. And I started drawing one day. And I just wrote this little thing. I was like, okay, I want to make uppercuts. I want to make a barbershop and do all this stuff. I want a barbershop and a salon, have a couple of things, but I wanted a whole boxing thing with the whole background of my family. And more old school, brick walls, all this stuff. And I even broke it down to how many barbers I wanted in it, how many stylists I wanted in it, how much I was going to pay my receptionist, how I wanted to color it, that color plan. I had everything you can think of, how much it would cost me for blow dryers. Broke it down, and by the time it took me about 3 months, and I felt like I finally had a stable whole ground that what I wanted, and I brought it to Sue. And I said, Sue, I'm ready. I'm ready, and I have the ambition, I have the goals, I have the talent, and I didn't know I was going to be that good, but I have it. And look at what people are showing. Like, I was showing her my reviews on Google, and I'm 5 stars, and she looked at me and she said, well, how much you made last year? I'm like, ooh, sharp question. I was prepared for this. So I put what I had for last year. I put what I was making currently, and I put the increase of it, and I also put the percentage of new clientele and old clientele coming in, how many new clientele a month I had. So I'm breaking down to her.
And I have about $1 million in backlog, right there, right? And I have more potential clients coming my way, actually, by 2019.
Yes, I was going ham, and she was just sitting back shocked. She crossed her hands and looked at me, and she's just staring at me, and I'm breaking down. I'm like, look, I want my salon to look. And she's like, well, all right, everything sounds good. So how much would you need for me? So I told her I need $20,000. $20,000 is the bare minimum. I don't need the best of the best stuff. I will work with what I have, and little by little I'll grow. And I told her, you give me $20,000, I will pay you back in the first 5 years. If I pay you back before that, no matter what, I will give you 2% of my business for the rest of your life and free haircuts for the rest of your life. Wow. And she looked at me and she was like, free haircuts. Forget everything else. Free haircuts and color. She was ready for it. So after I told her, it was sold. It was ready to go. And I told her, she's like, okay, let me see what I can do. Let me see how I can move it. And you let me know where my money's all going. And so I really had to break it down to her, exactly, to teach her capes, to neck strips, sanitation-wise. Yeah. Those are things that people don't think to put in that
in a budget.
Then I had to go with business cards and how I was going to do my storefront. But the biggest thing was knowing where I was going to find that location. So I started going crazy. I had to find a location. I didn't know how much monthly rent I was going to be paying with the electricity, the water. And one of my clients, I was sitting in my chair, she saw me in the back while I was doing her hair. I'm doing notes and I'm just writing and I'm breaking my neck. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to build a business plan. I'm trying to look for a salon. I'm on Craigslist. And she's like, on Craigslist? And she actually just opened up a hookah lounge with 47 chairs. And it was the same studio, like the same plaza I'm at now. And she's like, there's a salon for sale. I was like, really?
Wow.
And she's like, yeah, and it has everything included. I said, don't tell me that. That'll drop my thing down to about another 6 grand I'm saving now if I have everything with chairs and stuff. So I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, come look at it. So she talked to the landlord and I came. It was actually a salon that I went to go work at after I left Red Salon. And I decided to go to Image down more Del Prado. This was downtown Cape Coral. I was like, I've been here before. Everything to a T of the way I wanted my salon, the old rustic feeling, the New York vibe was that salon. It put chills on my spine. And I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And I looked over and I said, how much? And she gave me the price and it was only $400 more than what I was paying for my studio. And it had 5 stations. It had a wash. It had
you saved because all the equipment was already there.
Yeah,
all the equipment, the water system, actually plumbing system. People don't think about that. That's a lot of money on the side if you don't have water bowls and stuff. So I called Sue. I took pictures. I'm like, this is it, Sue. I found it. And it's only $400 more. I can make that work. I will work 7 days a week. At that point, I was making about what I needed to make for that rent.
Yeah.
At least in the 8 days. If I worked 4 or 5 days a week. So I hustled. I started working 15-hour days in my studio. 15-hour days. And I had to show her that I could make that money to be able to supply what I needed to supply without asking her for another loan. How are you going to supply yourself? And I was like, okay, bet. I worked 15-hour days, 7 days a week. My mom was my son's mother. Like, that's all she was at that point. I was working. Breakfast time was our time. That was our morning time. We did breakfast together. I said bye. I didn't see him till the next day because I worked so late. And I made the money. I showed her, look, this is what I made in this month. I can make 8 grand in a month and cover that and my house bills. And she looked at me and was like, okay, Keisha, let's do it. And my whole heart dropped. And she's like, what? I'm going to get a lawyer. I was like, a lawyer? You my godmother. You tried my life. Like, what? And she's like, oh, no, business is business. And she taught me the most important lesson of life, that you never mix business with personal. You have to know your grounds. You need to do everything with paperwork. You need to have everything written down. You need to have a plan. She taught me all these life lessons in these 3 months of me just looking for my dream salon, thinking, I got an investor. But little did I know, she set me up for the rest of my life. And what she taught me, and seeing my mom's hard work and her dedication, being a single mother, that my hustle was unstoppable. I'm not tired. I'm not. You see me, I've been up since 5:30 and I still got energy for days. And she taught me that. So I put all that together and she gave it to me. She was like, all right. She went, got the lawyer. She got some paperwork. I checked it over, signed my life away. And then I was there. And within about 5 or 6 months after that is when I started really putting everything together for the salon. I had about 4 grand left than what the loan she gave me. So for that 4 grand, I was able to get a whole color line and all my products that I needed for bleach and stuff that I didn't include for her to cover. That was stuff that I was trying to cover. So it actually worked out. And the way God works, man, he just put it on the platter. He's like, work hard, here it is.
Now, I'm so interested in that part where you started opening up to your clients and talking to them. Did that help you build a relationship with yourself? Because it seems like
because you were close. Right?
Yeah, you're sharing now. You're almost like ripping layers of the old you.
I was a freaking onion. And I cried just like that too, half the time with my clients.
Yeah. So like how beneficial was that for you now? Opening up, and I would imagine that's tough because this is a new world to you, you know, and like rather than not give one-liners to them, like, oh yeah, cool, today was good, like, yeah, I got a son. Continuing. That's it. Like, that's it. Stopping there. Like how beneficial that was. That was for you, and
oh my God,
how tough it was too in the beginning, just like sharing and also receiving information and then giving it back.
It was. You know, it's the weirdest thing that I felt more comfortable talking to strangers than I did my own family. And
I agree.
Clients,
I can feel that.
Yeah, it was a little bit easier. Kind of, they would open up. I'm their psychologist. At the end of the day, I know stuff that their family don't know. They open up to me, and I'm listening to them. And it was easy just to be like, I've been through that too. He hit me, or yeah, I used to be on drugs. It was that, and it was just simple stuff. Like, even though it seemed like a lie if I would have told my family that, it was just something simple that just came out. And little did my clients know, me being their psychologist, and listening, they were my psychologist. And little by little, that open conversation became open to me. Like, I was okay with telling people, you know what, you're going to hear it from somebody. At one point, your past catches up to you. No matter what, there's always that one person that want to be nosy and go and least share and do something. They want to know what your past, who you've been, what high school you've been to. And I was like, why not hear it from my own mouth? And once I got open with clients, it became, I was goofy. I wasn't sheltered no more. I didn't feel like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like, you can't judge me because you going through the same thing I'm going through, and actually helped me to see that, you know, I'm not alone. And I tell everybody, God, it's so good to talk. Like, don't hide stuff. How can you hold stuff in that many times? You know how many demons I was fighting, trying to hide stuff 24/7? That's harder than just being yourself.
It's a lot of energy.
And a lot of energy thrown out for no reason. For no reason. So when I started doing it, it just started flowing. And I met this man, Ivan Suarez, and he's a barbershop owner of 2 barbershops out here, mentor, speaker, everything. And I watched him talk one day, and he was telling me a story on how he talks to his clients, how he opens up to them, and how he did 10 years in prison. He was flipping bricks, and his baby mama helped him, and he was so open about this. I'm looking at him like, this man crazy. But I understand, like, I did the same thing. Like, this is the same lifestyle. He ended up, I saw him and it inspired me. I was like, God, if he can just talk about it, and people actually, the way I can relate to him, somebody else can relate, and it helped me come out my shell, help me be like, you know what, I can be a salon owner, I can be a barbershop owner, even though I have a background of who I came from, I can do it. And he ended up gravitating towards me and became my mentor. He used to cut my dad's hair. I didn't know that. He got to know who I really was. He used to watch my uncle fight, and we just had a whole different conversation. He took me under his wing as a sister. Never disrespected me. Came at me so respectful. Told me, you know what? If you want to learn, I'm here to learn. I'll give you free lessons all day. But if you are not going to grow from it, don't waste my time. So I ended up jumping on mentor speaking with him. We did a DJ. We went to DJ J together. My mom's a supervisor for probation, and we went to a place to talk to the kids. And after that, it was a wrap. I wanted to talk to a whole bunch of people, and I wanted to tell people my story, and I was never shy about where I came from. It's who what made me. And without the history that I've been through, I wouldn't have the heart that I have right now.
That's beautiful.
Hell yeah.
So is that where the whole you're so involved with your community too? Like, you do the backpack thing, free cuts for the kids those days.
Yes.
Is that where that came from for you to give back to the community?
Definitely. Ivan Suarez was a big part of it, but me also, my mom being a single mother and my dad being in and out, if a simple free haircut would have helped her, like, that would have made a big difference. Shit, it would have made a difference on my confidence. Curly hair girls was something that was ugly. It was nappy. We weren't done right. And you would think we were poor because you couldn't have straighten your hair like everybody else. And a simple haircut, a simple style would have made my confidence this high. It would have helped my mom. She didn't have the money to take me somewhere, probably great clips, and then I'm leaving like a chia pet anyways. On top of that, it brushing out my hair and I'm super uneven. And book bags and school supplies, that's a big weight lifted off their shoulders. And when I became a mother and I was in school and working full time and coming back and forth, I barely ate. Like, it was hard. It was either you put gas in your car or you're going to feed your child today. Like, what are you going to do? And I'm not going to ask for help from nobody. So the one thing I promised myself was, when I came into having a platform that I can grow off of, I'm damn sure going to get back to the city that I grew up in, and I'm going to get back to the kids, and I'm going to give them what somebody didn't give to me. They couldn't offer a free haircut. Like, come on now. Take 10, 15 minutes of your day. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give you a day of free. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. It wasn't for my clients, I wouldn't be here. And if I can change a little kid's just thought process of how they feel. I've had kids cry to me and tell me they get picked on for the same reasons that I got picked on in school. Or little boys that don't have the money, they wear the same hand-me-down clothes from the kids. And they have hair in their face and just trim it up, and then I get called a girl no more. That makes a big difference, and they're going to grow with confidence. And look what they're going to do in our city. They see us doing it. I saw Ivan doing it. I decided to do it. They see me do it. They're gonna decide to do it. My son, he's so gangster. Like he knows I do. He's so.
Yeah, I see him. He's walking around doing his underwear. He don't care.
He don't care. He don't care.
He's like,
But
let's go, mom.
We do so much stuff for the community that now my son, he sees a homeless student off rib. Mom, stop. Let's give him food real quick. Mom, we gotta feed him. Where's he gonna go tonight? It's raining, Mom. We need to make something for them, like a shelter. It's like, this is a 7-year-old little boy talking to me like this. Look at the change of just what I've done.
Yeah.
Change his
Well,
mind.
he's learning
And
through you.
He's gonna do.
So I was gonna say, yeah, he's learning through you. And those times when you thought you wasn't like visible because you out there grinding, working hard, he's
teaching by example.
I mean, he's still seeing you, even though your presence wasn't there, but your spirit was, and he's knowing that you're out there doing what you got to do. I wanted to mention that this hair journey of yours, just piecing everything to puzzle, and it's more powerful than just the hair. Like the hair and what you did was the stepping stone that you needed to meet people that's gonna push you, but also help you to find confidence, battle your insecurities, and try to find your worth and relationships, and also in addiction. So hair was the stepping stone, but hair was also this gift that brought you so much more, from yourself to connections with people, and almost like this visible spirit guiding you to the light of what that you needed. Because you had this gift, but it also helped you with so many trials and tribulations. And I think that's something that it's very beautiful.
It is.
You know, that I feel like it's very symbolic. It's more than just the hair. And like it brought you so much. It brought you so much.
Hairartistry.
Yeah. Yes, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
But it's deeper. You know, it's deeper.
It was a lot. It's a lot because I ended up losing Macho on my birthday, November 20th, right before I had Godot. And then I lost Carlos Dimas, and he actually committed suicide in his salon in Fort Myers. And that just showed me like life's too short, man. I lost the 2 men that I mentored and looked up to and loved to death, and then my dad wasn't here. God, we can do so much more with our life. And it really, I feel like them too, they just guide me. They're here to keep floating me on. Yeah. It's dope.
So we're gonna move forward to our last segment, and the last segment is called Let's Look Inside. And there's a couple questions for this segment, and we're gonna ask you a question, and whatever pops in your head, you go for it. So the first question is, what do you love about yourself?
My personality.
Nice.
And the last question is, if the average lifespan was 40 years, how would you live your life differently?
I would travel the world off rip. I would go to every country that I can go to. Hold on, puppy. I'll go to every country that I can go to and learn. Oh, you can do shit. All right. Hold on, puppy. Yeah, I'll go to every country and just learn what they believe in and their different cultures. I think it's super dope. Now that I can do it, I've traveled to Thailand and Colombia, and I've been a whole bunch of different places, and it just makes you appreciate life differently.
And then this last one is like life cards or whatever, reflection cards, life reflection cards, same thing. So then we shuffle them, and then she's gonna pick one.
All right. The first question is, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of? Good question. You heard that?
I'm sorry. Another thing kind of like skipped a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So what am I holding on to?
I'll ask it again. Okay.
Okay.
So the first question is, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of?
Probably trying to make people proud. Like, you just can't make everybody proud. And I learned that you can do everything great in this world, but that one thing might hurt somebody's soul, and it won't be good enough for them. So I learned that you gotta make yourself proud. As long as I'm happy with what I'm doing in my growth, that's all that matters.
There goes the answer.
What is one thing that doesn't cost anything, occurs naturally, and always makes you smile?
Curly hair.
Yeah, I'm telling you. When I see a good hair. When somebody just gives a natural compliment. it just makes me smile. Like I've learned just to do that. Like in the morning, I'll just tell somebody like they're beautiful, or their shoes look nice, or just a scarf, because I know how much that makes a difference for me. And now it just became so natural. So when you see someone, just a natural compliment, you're so beautiful, you're beautiful, curls are gorgeous, it makes you feel good. So I like that.